welcome to another Teacher's Corner. I'm Teacher Kirby, and today we're going to talk about consoles and sets for Polaron based energy weapon builds. Okay, don't forget to click that like and subscribe button if you like what you see, and if you'd like to support Teacher's Corner another way, consider becoming a patron. All right, moving right along. So we have 4 Polaron builds. Your general run-of-the-mill that you get from crafting or from mission drops, called the Polaron Phase Modulator. And these, of course, go from Mark 0 to Mark 12. So there's, or Mark 15, sorry. So there's a range here. And these are the ones that you're going to get to put in your tactical slots before you can afford to get your vulnerability locators or energetic proto matter matrix infusers. All right, moving right along, we have from the reputation system the auto targeting module. This generally is not used because it has a lower amount of boost than even your Polaron phase modulator, and it has no crit chance added to it. All right, and then we have, and it's a tactical console, so that's the only space you can use it. All right, then we have your Ordnance Accelerator. This comes from the Gamma reputation. This is a universal console, so it can go anywhere, and has 20% at Mark 12, or very rare, 20% of Polaron directed energy weapon damage. That, of course, increases as you get it to higher levels. We'll talk more about that later. Then we have the Piezoelectric Focuser. This comes from the Lucari reputation and gives 30% Polaron damage. From mission rewards, we have 2. The Chronometric Capacitor. This comes from the mission Time and Tide, and this gives 20% Polaron damage. We also have the Morphogenic Matrix Controller from the mission Home, and that gives 20% Polaron damage. And then we have from our fleet holdings, there are 3. The Energetic Proto Matter Matrix Infuser, and this comes from the colony holding, and gives 37.5% Polaron damage at 15 epic, and also gives a little bit of projectile weapon damage, as well as a buff that helps with survivability. So generally a lot of builds will have 2, maybe even 3 of these in their tactical slots. This is a tactical only slot console. Then you also have, these are from the Dyson Sphere, the vulnerability exploiters and locators. Both of these are available from the Dyson Sphere. They give 37.5% Polaron damage. They are also tactical consoles as well, and most people will go for the vulnerability locator because that gives crit chance, and then they'll get their crit severity other ways. The vulnerability exploiter increases crit severity and generally is not used in energy weapon builds. All right, and then we have from starships, we have the Enhanced Sensor Disruption Field. Comes from the Plush Trawl Heavy Raider. This was a winter event ship. You'll have to excuse the cat. Not sure what his issue is. But, yeah, so the sensor disruption field comes from the Plush Trawl. Now, this one gives 26.6% Polaron damage, but it is worthy to note it is limited to Breen starships. So if you're not flying a Breen starship, you will not be able to use that console. And then finally, from starship consoles, we have the Supercharged Sif Conduits. That stands for Structural Integrity Field. And this comes from the Vaudouar Miracle Worker Juggernaut ship. It is not limited, so it can go on any starship, and it gives 11.4% Polaron damage. All right. And then we'll talk about the sets after we go in a little more in depth into some of the consoles. All right. So we have the Ordnance Accelerator. So again, this comes from the Gamma reputation. This gives 20% not only to Polaron damage, but also to projectile weapon damage. And at Epic, it will actually give you 26.3%. So this is a nice little console to have and generally recommended for Polaron builds. And then we have, this is from the Lucari reputation, the Piezoelectric Focuser. It gives 30% plasma and Polaron damage, as well as a boost to shield capacity and flight turn rate. Again, at Mark 15 Epic, this is going to give you 39.4% Polaron damage. Again, the important thing with this is it is universal, so you would put it in a engineering or science slot rather than tactical to actually give you an increase in your overall Polaron damage. And then we have, now this has to go in a tactical slot, so this is the Chronometric Capacitor, and at 15 Epic that will give you 26.3% Polaron damage boost. It also gives you a boost to EPG, Starship Particle Generators, and torpedoes, as well as a little bit of extra weapon power. Okay. So, and this is the one that comes from Time and Tide as the mission replay. The big drawback to this one is that it does have to go in a tactical slot, so you would lose the critical chance that you would get from slotting a vulnerability locator instead. Okay. And then we're on to our Enhanced Sensor Disruption Field. Again, this is bound to Breen starships. Okay. But it does give you 26.6% Polaron damage. So if you are using a Breen starship, then that is something that you can consider buying or using. Alright, moving right along. And then we have the Supercharged Sif Conduits. And that, of course, comes with 11.4% Polaron damage and a little bit of hull regeneration, 15%, as well as a clickable that gives you a boost to energy damage, flight turn rate, and flight speed for a very short amount of time. Alright, and this is, again, this is not limited to any starship. Alrighty, moving right along. Now we talk about our sets. So we have the Morphogenic Matrix Controller. This comes from the mission home. Comes from the mission home. And it does give an amount of Polaron damage. At Mark 15 Epic, you're looking at 26.3%. Polaron damage, as well as some drain expertise, which will help your Polarons to drain more damage from your enemies. Now, the thing with this, it does come as part of a 3-piece set. And it is actually worth noting what the set powers are. So the 3 pieces are the Matrix Controller, the Energy Torpedo Launcher, and the Polaron Energy Weapon, which is it will act as a cannon or as a beam depending on what abilities you use. Okay, heavy turret or beam array. Fires in a 360 arc. And there you go. So, now the set powers with this gives a, 2-piece set gives a 15% recharge time reduction to fire at will, beam overload, scatter volley, rapid fire, torp spread, high yield, mind pattern alpha, and mind pattern beta. Now for the 3-piece set, whenever you activate the following abilities, you gain a unique buff for 45 seconds and can stack up to 3 times. So if you activate a beam ability, you get extra crit chance. If you activate a cannon ability, you get extra crit severity. If you activate a torpedo or mine ability, you get extra weapon damage. Okay, so this is category 1. So, but yes, definitely a decent ability to have for our set powers. So this is definitely one we always recommend getting the 3-piece set. If you're doing Polaron, get the Morphogenic set. Alright, and then the Jem'Hadar Space Set. So this one comes with this comes from Operation Gamma to get it. And it comes with the deflector dish, the impulse engine, and the resilient shield. Now the 2-piece bonus here is 16.4% Polaron damage and 32.9% drain expertise. It's a little bit, nothing to sneeze at, but definitely you might want to consider some other options as well. The Victory is Life Enhancement, this 1% chance to strip 1 buff while using Polaron weaponry, only works on Jem'Hadar vessels, the Cardassian Gaylor class and the Cardassian Keldon class. So if you're in anything other than those, this Victory's Life Enhancement is not going to work. Alright, and moving right along to the second to last one, the Lucari Restoration Initiative Armaments. So this has that Piezoelectric Focuser that we talked about earlier, where you get 30% Polaron damage, boost to flight turn rate, and maximum shield capacity. There's also a Piezo Photon Torpedo Launcher and a Piezo Beam Array. There's a Polaron and Plasma variant. Polaron being the native one for this. There's also dual cannons, which can be traded out for the beam array instead. So if you're doing a cannon build. Alright, now for the set powers, 2 pieces. So you could do the console and the beam array or cannons. But 2 pieces give you an extra 15% photon damage, or sorry, Polaron damage. That's what I'm looking at. Also some plasma, photon, and drain expertise as well. The 3-piece set gives you Proto matter infused torpedoes. Not very worthy of what we're looking for here. So I would not bother getting that 3-piece set, but the 2-piece, definitely something you can easily consider. Alright. And finally, last but not least, we have the Task Force Ordinances set. This is from the Gamma Reputation. And so this has the Ordnance Accelerator that we mentioned before, plus 20% Polaron damage. And then at 15 epic, that's actually going to be 26.3. We have the Wide Angle Advanced Inhibiting Chronoton Torpedo Launcher, which is generally a wide angle torpedo. And then we have the Inhibiting Chronoton Rapid Mine Layer or Launcher. And then a beam array and or turret. And both these comes in Polaron or Phaser variants if you are tier 6. Now, 2 pieces of this set do give you an extra 10% to Polaron energy weapon damage. 3 pieces gives you a mine upgrade that is not relevant for Polaron builds. But the 2-piece can definitely help you out there. Alright, so that is it for Polaron sets and consoles. And this is Teacher Kirby. I hope you learned something, and I will see you next time.